Alright, what's up everybody? We are trying this again because it appears that I don't know how to use technology well enough sometimes. And live streaming's a bitch, that's why. God damn, no wonder they make so much money. I just got a quote for a client for 30 grand for a live streaming event, fully produced. What am I gonna do? So, this episode of the Gem Show, episode 1? Let's see what we can do here. It is brought to you by Four Sigmatic Coffee. You really got to try this coffee. It is great for entrepreneurs that have to go and think clearly all day. That can't afford to crash and because it'll destroy the way they think. Speaking of crashing, you got to keep your system hydrated. Essentia Coffee is another wonderful product that makes this show possible. If you've ever felt that weight in your stomach from over drinking a bunch of water that really just is sitting and making you almost bloated, well, there's a difference in how certain chemicals, water being one of them, are absorbed in your bloodstream. And the more bioavailable product, a mineral, or what would you call it, substances, the quicker it enters into your bloodstream and the better off you are, especially when it's water. So, if you want to join the new economy, if your company wants to upgrade its marketing team, start a new marketing team, if you've just gone through an acquisition, if you have just gone through a merger, if you are launching a new brand or a new division or a new office or a new company altogether, or hell, you just want to get a job as a marketer, you got to get my free marketing training manual. It's what I use to train all my staff, of which there's 2 full-time staff right now. And more importantly, though, it is the process by which we use to manage all our vendors, from $100 million plus marketing teams all the way down to our own marketing. It's full of templates for finding personas, high intent audiences, acquisition channels, and setting up your marketing technology stack and creating the conversion practices that you need. So check it out. Once you download it, you can get the paperback version of at cost. It's $265 right now plus shipping to your door, and you'll get invited to our training program where you will be able to learn how we do what we do. Do it for yourself, cut us out, do it yourself. It's really important you know what's going on. So that's going on now. Now, I can't stop thinking about this. I was at a client office today, and we're doing a video production, and in between, I have meetings, and I set up a meeting with let's call them Sales Fart, okay? Big company. They help with CRM automation and all these other buzzwords out there. They're the go-to brand in some people's minds. And I needed to know about a very specific product they had. Discontinuing it, I need to know on behalf of a client, what's the new product that they're going to replace it with. Give me some, is any functionality lost, so on and so forth. And these motherfuckers, man, they refused to talk to me. They literally hung up the phone because they demanded I tell them who the client is. And I'm like, listen, dude, I'm not telling you who this client is. First off, you don't need to know. It has no impact on our conversation. I know everything you're going to ask me. So, what is it? Why do you need to know the customer? Second off, let's be real. You want to update your CRM so you can go and sell my client through everyone in that organization you possibly can bother with a phone call, an email, or God forbid, a site visit, and pressure them with your beautiful salespeople to buy this fucking overpriced bloatware that's being crammed down the B2B marketing world's throat. Of course, I didn't say all that, but I just said, listen, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you who this client is. There's no need to know right now. They hired me to deal with people like you, to come up with a plan, and then maybe you will talk to them once once they accept my plan. They trust me to come up with the right conclusion. You're not going to circumvent me and go sell these people. Um, yeah, then they wouldn't talk. They wouldn't pass me up the food chain to get the answers I need. They literally wouldn't help me out, and just, I was blown away, and I realized, oh my god, this is how I'm going to win this industry. Of course, I have amazing software coming out. Of course, I understand marketing better than their entire leadership team. Of course, I'm gonna win, but I'm gonna do it better, faster, and cheaper by providing outstanding customer service. You're gonna get like a concierge, white glove, fucking VIP service when you work with me in the next year when we launch all this stuff. We're gonna actually care about you. We're gonna call you. We're gonna not to sell something, but to check up on you, to see how your kids are doing, to tell you there's something you could be doing better, looking at your numbers. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? We are not gonna be constantly selling you and then ghosting you. That's the worst feeling in the world. Everyone hates it. Nobody thinks there's an alternative. So, man, treat your customers right, or else you're not gonna have customers. I'm gonna steal them from you, and I'm gonna laugh doing it. God, is there anything worse than a guy with a beautiful girlfriend or wife that he treats like shit? This wonderful, sweet lady that he treats like crap, or that just God drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. As someone who's come from humble beginnings, who's had little up until very recently, who has knows what it's like to be treated poorly. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. And I mean in like employment situations, business, partnership relationships. I know what it's like to be treated like shit. And I refuse to do it to anybody else because I know how bad it is. And guess what? It's bad for profits, man. When everyone hates you, they're just waiting for you to get weak so they can fucking cut your legs out from underneath. So, don't do that. Treat your people good. Speaking of which, reading this book, you all should get it. This is the summary of it that I accidentally bought, but I kind of like. Good for you, in a nutshell publishing. This is a summary of Ray Dalio's book, Principles, Life, and Work. Now, who am I to critique Ray Dalio? I'm not a billionaire yet. But, for sure just cut the life part out. Pick one, okay? Life or work. Life and work. I'm so glad I got this summary because half of the summary is talking about his life. And I'm like, listen, dude, I'm sure you're a great guy. I'm sure. I'm completely convinced you're a fantastic human being. But I'm not here for self-help. I'm here to make better money decisions, man. So let's just focus on the work. I would have gotten so frustrated reading half the book, hearing his story. Nobody wants to hear his story in a book. Well, they either want to hear your story or they want to learn more about your work. They don't want both at the same time. At least I don't. That small criticism aside, it must have been really hard pulling all this stuff out of his brain and developing these ideas and implementing them in the first place. So I don't uh, uh, I don't hate on anyone for doing that. I think it's really good. His principles are really, really good. More importantly, though, it's like, dude, you need some principles at work. What are your company's principles? What do you stand for? What are you here for? The new economy is growing, baby. What are you doing? What higher order ideals are you presenting to the market? Ours are really simple. We're here to turbocharge the global economy. We're here to upgrade Earth, baby. That's it. We're going to do that through knowledge sharing, through software, through services. We're going to let anyone sell to everyone, anywhere and everywhere. It's going to be fucking awesome. And we're going to make a ton of money doing it. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's already incredible. What could go wrong? But it did drive me to write down my business principles, which I recently posted on Instagram. And I think it's a living document. Another thing I really like about this guy is that he created his company, his hedge fund, in a in such a manner where he's he's not needed for it to thrive. And so people disagree. There's voting structures. It's very democratic in that way. So that's cool. What else am I reading? Reading The Four. I just did an Amazon run, so I got all this shit. The Hidden DNA of Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google. This guy, man, Scott Galloway. I'm gonna get him on my board. Scott, are you out there? I'm not gonna stop emailing you until you have a meeting with me. I will fly out to New York on a moment's notice to drink some whiskey with you, because I think we gotta talk. And the guts of this guy, man. I mean, could you imagine if these four companies blacklisted you overnight, like Alex Jones? But you get so much from them. And so, I'm only a couple pages in so far, but I'm hooked. I love it. I just got all this stuff a couple days ago, and he talks about the rosy picture, the PR picture, the old economy way these guys, these brands have portrayed themselves, and then he says at the end of the first page, however, consider another view. And I'm just going to read this because it's so good. Section 2 is called the Four Horsemen. Imagine a retailer that refuses to pay sales tax, treats its employees poorly, destroys hundreds of thousands of jobs, and yet is celebrated as a paragon of business innovation. A computer company that withholds information about a domestic act of terrorism from federal investigators with the support of a fan following that views the firm similar to a religion. A social media firm that analyzes thousands of images of your children, activates your phone as a listening device, and sells this information to Fortune 500 companies. A firm that was warned by the President of the United States that it was targeted by foreign actors, yet refused to take responsibility, and is easily used by our adversaries as a Trojan horse to defraud the United States. An ad platform that commands, in some markets, a 90% share of the most lucrative sector in media, yet avoids anti-competitive regulation through aggressive litigation and lobbyists. This narrative is also heard around the world. This is a great graphic here. Hope I'm not breaking copyright law, but maybe this will make Scott write me a cease and desist letter, and then I can get it. He shows how much larger Amazon's market cap as of March of 2018 is versus Walmart. Yet Walmart is popularly described as the evil one, and Jeff Bezos and Amazon go scot-free. Why is that? Good question. What else did I get in this purchase? I'm going to talk to these books often. First off, book covers are for children. Okay, let's be real. You gotta get the book in your hands, man. You gotta grip that shit. This is called The Dichotomy of Leadership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. The hardest name to pronounce, short of mine, Leif Babin. Oof, poor guy. I know your pain, brother. Navy SEALs, training, leadership trainers, executive, what would you call them? They train business teams on how to become leaders through extreme ownership. I got another book by his. Really good stuff. Check out their podcast, the Jocko Podcast, Jocko. This is all about the paradox of leadership. Let me just read you a couple of these chapter headlines because it's really good stuff. I haven't broken into this yet, but I keep hearing him talk about it on his podcast, and I just love it. And for the record, Jocko Willink, I coined the term our warrior laureate because this man can turn a phrase and kill you. The ultimate dichotomy. So balancing people, part 1, chapter 1, the ultimate dichotomy. Own it all but empower others. Resolute but not overbearing. When to mentor, when to fire. Train hard but train smart. Aggressive, not reckless. Disciplined, not rigid. Hold people accountable but don't hold their hands. A leader and a follower. Plan, but don't overplan. Humble, but not passive. Focused, but detached. Whew. You know, and it obviously the guy's onto something, but it makes sense too because like a sword, you can over sharpen your blade. At a certain point, you gotta stop with the thing and get to work and sharpen it when it becomes dull again. But if you just keep fucking planning, you're gonna over sharpen that thing. Also, that came to my mind from this period of intense failure I was going through. One could say the last 10 years of my life has been a one episode of failure after another. And I mean it in the most literal sense. From, you know, college till a few years ago. So, what was that? When I was 18, let's just say. When I was 28, no, I really stopped failing when I was like 30. So let's be reasonable. Right when I got into the physics department, my failing truly began. I thought I was a failure before, but not until I took physics classes did I become a true failure. Not until I entered the physics department with the other brainiacs did I become a disciple of failure. So when I was 20 to 30, man, just failed endlessly. Was number 7 out of 7 in my physics department. Regularly got 30s and 40% on my quizzes, which were C's. That's how tough it was. Um, we're talking 3 physics classes a semester, 6 a year. I mean, it was just like every day was a failure. Um, then I got out of school and I started 3 indoor farming companies back to back over 6 years. Had to stay a 5th year in college because I failed. Oh my god! Because I was Mr. fucking hotshot physics major. I forgot to take like chemistry 2 or something undergrad, and I was just like, I know physics. I don't need to study this shit. This is all a subfield. This is a subgenre, a subdiscipline of physics. It's all physics, baby. Yeah, got an F. Took it a second time so that I can graduate. Got a D, which meant I barely graduated by the skin of my teeth. And stumbled into entrepreneurship. I mean, I wanted to start a business. Stumbled into indoor farming, and boom, boom, boom. 2 years each. 3 companies, 6 years in total. 3 failed attempts at indoor farming. And why did I fail? Each business had a different reason. To this day, I know I had a great product. I couldn't market it. I did sell it here and there, but I couldn't support it, and I couldn't fundraise. That was my biggest issue. And in the end, I read something like, you can't make others believe in your product until you sold yourself. You can't sell others until you sold yourself. And I never really sold myself on indoor farming. I always knew that it was going to take more resources than I had to prove it. That there was a lot of R&D in between where I was and where the company needed to be. And so I would constantly try to tell people this, and they don't want to they don't want to hire, they don't want to fund my R&D. That's for sure. So all my inventions and all that stuff just went down the drain. And I realized then, though, and then I had a course of financial failures, personal financial failures. I couldn't manage my money properly until I dug into the fucking heart of my jungle, if you will, and dealt with my bullshit. You know what I mean? Face those fears. But I realized that the strongest steel, man, is forged in the hottest fires, and I can go through anything now. I can strike deals. I can lose deals. I can look people in the eye that I have no business talking to. I'm pitching Harley. I'm working with LA Hollywood production studios, Fortune 1000 software companies, looking financing firms to acquire a SaaS company next year. I mean, like in a year, I went from zero to hero, and it really had to do with taking responsibility. So the next book, I want to add an asterisk. I think well, let me introduce the book. It's also by Jocko Willink. Discipline Equals Freedom. Field Manual. That's Jocko. Okay, that's the shadow of fucking death that'll haunt you into doing what you need to do. Because there is no shortcut. There is no hack. There's only one way, so get after it. That's his motto. And I would augment this with, okay, yes, but how much freedom? Discipline alone does not allow you to travel the world endlessly, right? It will give you personal freedom, but I think discipline times responsibility equals, you know, full spectrum of freedom. You take on a lot of responsibility and you're disciplined, you can do whatever you want with your life. But just, you know what I mean, just being disciplined doesn't give you all the freedom. Just taking responsibility doesn't give you all the freedom. You got to do both. And this book this is something else, man. I'm gonna put this part of my morning routine. First off, this is a picture of his morning workout every morning at 4:30. The guy wakes up, shames me, and I'm not waking up at 4:30. Okay. Here's the other thing. Hey Jocko, if if you're comfortable being uncomfortable, then as a leader, shouldn't you practice being uncomfortable, which for you would mean being comfortable? Like, this guy needs to go to a spa once a month and let himself fucking get pampered because it would be really uncomfortable for him. And I think that will push him out of his comfort zone and he would actually be a better leader for it. Don't tell him I said that. I'm just going to flip to a random page. The darkness. I'm going to try to read like Jocko does on his podcast. The sun doesn't shine every day. Storms will come. There are times when the nights will be long and dark, and you will be alone. There will be times when the darkness seems to consume everything. But don't let it consume you. Don't let it consume you. Even in the darkest times, even in the strongest storms, even when the sun is blotted out and the world is falling apart, the darkness cannot extinguish your light. You, your will, your determination. No matter what is happening, no matter how hard the fight is, as long as you keep fighting, you win. Only surrender is defeat. Only quitting is the end. Because the darkness only wins if you let it. Do not let the darkness win. Fight. Fight on. The fight against the darkness is to win. Fight on. What problems I have in my life? You know, thinking about the shit this guy's gone through. So, got a new setup here. We're gonna see how everything works. I'm live streaming. I'm recording. The live stream's not gonna get edited. The recording will, and you know, I am my own guinea pig, so I'm also trying to constantly figure out the best way to do this, that, and the other, and experiment. I love experimenting with my own advertising. But let's see, where am I at? 24 minutes. I'm gonna do 30 minutes. I think that's enough. First show. Let's talk about something really simple. What is conversion marketing? What the fuck is this guy talking about all the time? And we've trademarked the term conversion marketer. So get this book, take the course, take the quiz, and become a certified conversion marketer. So what is conversion marketing? It is the total domain of all marketing, meaning it is the focus of increasing the percentage of people that see your advertisement to those that eventually become customers and even further repeat customers. It is optimizing, it is the practice of identifying and optimizing the entire customer journey such that you are continuously increasing your conversion rates, which really means decreasing your cost of customer acquisition, your cost per lead, and ultimately stretching your marketing budget further and further by doing more and more. By focusing on the conversion rates across your marketing technology stack, which could mimic and mirror and manage your customer's journey through their decision making process, you are focusing on a metric that leads to revenue. You're focusing on revenue generating activities. You are ignoring the noise. You are listening to your customers' feedback. For what does not convert does not matter, right? And you're seeing all marketing tasks in a holistic manner. There is no silo of email marketing versus SCM, search engine marketing versus content marketing. These are all different pieces in a whole body of marketing. They're all different phases, you might say, in a body of marketing. And so to us, we see search engine marketing. First, we see SEO, so using the right keywords. And then we see search engine marketing as a way to find our high intent audiences. And then next, we use content marketing to draw our audiences from every possible source into our content. And then we see lead generation as the way we convert that traffic into marketing leads. And then we see email marketing as a way to convert those marketing leads into sales leads in the most efficient manner possible, which only increases your revenues and decreases your costs. And we see, attribution or analytics as a piece that connects this system to your business so that you know what's happening in all these stages and you can see what's going on. And if you're not thinking about conversion marketing, you're getting defrauded. And I'm serious about that. 10 to 20% of all digital ad budgets are being wasted on fraudulent activity right now, and it's doubling over the past 2 years. Year over year, the amount of ad fraud is doubled. It's at estimated at 17 billion, 30 billion, 20 something, depending on who you talk to. And it's one of the most profitable activities you can participate in right now, supposedly. 45, 4,100% return on investment. It's so profitable and so easy and so hard to stop up until now, what we promote, that it's just it's growing like crazy. So what people are doing, and I wouldn't be surprised that countries are doing it too as part of their, fucking, whatever, I don't know what you even call it, but their portfolio of illegal activities, let's just say, where you put up a website and you either have illegal content on it or you have illegal bots on it. And so in the case, or both, right? And so some people, they'll host illegal content, which will be your video, your movies, your TV shows, and then put all sorts of pixels and ads and banners all over the place and make you click through a bunch of things to find, the fucking UFC match or whatever it is. And there'll be tens of versions of the same URL, so they constantly get taken down. And then they get paid for that bullshit traffic, which was never intended to make a purchase anyway. Or they'll have a website up with banners and ads and stuff, and then they will pay bots to come and click on all their banners so that they get paid by Google or whomever is managing the banner space. if you're spending money on programmatic ad spend right now, and you're getting ripped off. Procter and Gamble, they decreased their digital ad spend by $100 million and saw zero change in revenue. Chase JP Morgan took the number of sites, or was it the opposite? I think Procter and Gamble was the one that took their no. They decreased their ad spend by 100 million and did nothing. It did nothing. Chase JP Morgan, um, they were advertising on 700,000 programmatic programmatically on 700,000 websites. They decreased that to 4,000, zero change in revenue. Okay, it's a fucking scam, and nobody wants to be in charge of changing it because everyone's taking off the dime. So, with that, we'll get into that later. You want to not get ripped off, get an training manual. Alright, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it. Hope this helps.